Hello, welcome to the next loot hunt video. It is a Friday morning. It's earlier than I like to get up on my day off, but again, I'm doing it for the sake of the loot hunt. I look like I've also got massive eyebrows because of this cap. I'm just going to do that. There we go. So I am off on a loot hunt. Going to somewhere we haven't been so far in the video. Obviously, I've been here before. Potentially hitting up 3 different towns depending on what the loot is like. I probably will, just because it's good to get out while we can. There's very specific things we're looking for this week. Books, as always, and movies and music. So that's where we're going. So yeah, until then, I will check back in when I get to the first town. So I have arrived in my first destination. It is a town called Sittingbourne. There are charity shops in here and there is a cash converters equivalent. I can't remember actually whether it is a proper cash converters, but something like that. And there's also a CX, a very small one, but there is a CX. Looking for the usual. I'll let you know how it goes. So the first shop I have any luck in is, of course, Poundland. Saw 3D there. It's not one I've seen in Poundland before. It's also one I've not watched. Henry's Crime with Keanu Reeves is another one I've not seen. Lebanon: The Soldier's Journey has been in Poundland a couple of times. Lone Ranger is something I've been meaning to watch on Disney+, but I've heard it's awful and have so far managed to avoid. I pull out Kickboxer here because I think it's the one with Batista in it again, and it's not. I think it's Retribution is the one I'm looking for, not Retaliation. We've also got Bangkok Dangerous here, which I thought was some kind of martial arts thing, but it's a Nicolas Cage movie. Several copies of London Boulevard. Lion is supposed to be a really good movie. There's lots and lots of new stock here that I've not seen in Poundland for a while. Let me know if this is common stock in the Poundlands that are close to you. Last King of Scotland, great film. More Kickboxer there. Another Henry's Crime. I pull out a Christmas Story here just to show you what it looks like. It's Christmas Star actually. Just some animated thing. Again, I've not seen that. And A Necessary Death of Charlie Countryman, which is another film I'm not familiar with. Lots of things here that kind of took my fancy. There's a Beatles documentary. One for the Money. Noah. Texas Killing Fields. I had a little look at this after I finished recording and it sounded quite interesting. I was in 2 minds whether to pick it up or not. Another couple of copies of Lion. Southpaw, which I've rewatched again recently. Great film. Got 007 Dr. No. War Dogs. Central Intelligence. There's just another view of Dr. No there. World's End. Few Eyes Only. You Only Live Twice. I picked up Few Eyes Only recently from another Poundland actually. Yeah, it was quite a good haul there. Lots to interest me in Poundland. So this was a charity shop, and as you can see, there's a whole load of Blu-rays here. I think this was the rather expensive one, which I can't remember what it was. But this is one of the first times I've seen some Ultra 4K HD movies in. Now we've got First Man with Ryan Gosling, film I've not seen, and a Jurassic World double pack. These were both priced at £8 each, which is probably a fair price for them, but probably a little bit out of my range. So British Heart Foundation was probably the charity shop which I had the most luck in the whole time I was in Sittingbourne. This shop is really tiny but was super packed with stuff, and there are so many DVDs here, unbelievable amounts. So you can see how the first movie that I'll pull out is El Chupacabra. This looks absolutely terrible. Half price, only 50p. There's some Superstars 4-pack movies there with some early movies of film stars in it. Ted 2 on Blu-ray. The Road, such a good film. Also a really good book if you ever get the chance to read that, by Cormac McCarthy. The Last Drop looked interesting. Downfall of Berlin. This one I'm pulling out is Empire of Sharks, which just looks also as equally horrendous. And as you can see there, I've already picked up a couple at this point, one of which you may have already seen. And it's not Bridget Jones's Baby. We've got Pitch Black, Collateral, Brothers War, Antoine Fisher, Man Up. Here I'm pointing out Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery because I believe that's just got a Blu-ray release in the UK for the first time. We've got Defiance on Blu-ray, Gremlins, Money Monster, White Collar. We've got season 1 to 3 of Mistresses, never heard that TV show before. Redacted, Brotherhood, not the Brotherhood, but a different Brotherhood. 2 more James Bond Blu-rays there. Got The Ugly Truth. Now, Sweet Francais is one that I've been meaning to watch for a while. Should really check that out. Juno. There's another Blu-ray here that I pull out. As usual, having trouble with the shelves, getting things back on the shelf, getting them out in the first place. But this is Pantani, The Accidental Death of a Cyclist on Blu-ray, Channel 4 documentary. Got some Lee Evans stand-up there. Spotlight, Michael McIntyre. So much stand-up in charity shops at the moment. Life as We Know It, the A-Team remake, some series of Scrubs. Yes, here is one of many, many, many American Chopper DVDs, which I'm just about to point out now. Got John Wick, Sum of All Fears, Yes Man, the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. Just been announced that the new one of those is coming out in 2022. Hopefully they'll do a better job of it this time, although I don't hate the Green Lantern film. Midsummer Murders, more Scrubs. Easy Virtue, we've got some Red Dwarf there. Hitch, Water for Elephants. Mortal Instruments, City of Bones is another one I want to be checking out because the books are supposed to be really good. Now these first few here, it's actually the first 3 you can see. So I'll pull out 2 of them. I'll pull out Mind Game Saga and Deimos Rising, but also Wartime Chronicles. They're all spin-off Doctor Who spin-offs. I'm not a Whovian. I don't know Doctor Who. I don't really understand it, but let me know if they're important because there's another one here as well, the Doctor's Heroes. These are all Doctor Who related DVDs, which I just thought I'd pull out and show you. We've got Where Eagles Dare, the classic, Grease. And then we've got these movie musicals of various different musicals. It's obviously like one of those magazine sets that you pay an extortionate amount of money for. And here's the rest of the American Choppers that they had. So many of them. Don't know whose that is. I have to say the sort of tail end of this video is showing you probably the best DVDs on offer. We've got 100 great golf tips, which who wouldn't want that? And then we've got this beauty, which I did and ah about buying because who wouldn't want Great British Classic Tractors on DVD? Unfortunately, not me this time. But there's also one on steam lorries, the history of the RAF. Okay, so I'm back in the studio after today's loot hunt. I am freshly shaved, as you can see, so I look very different from my last video. And I'm also wearing my very cool LANDE HEKT t-shirt, which is lovely and beautiful and purple or lilac or whatever you want to call it. Both locations I went to are market towns. And today was market day. Really stupid time to go because actually Sittingbourne was heaving. So many people, even though I was there relatively early in the morning, not that early, shops had opened, but early enough. So many people, and it made things incredibly, what I wanted to be quite a short trip end up being really long because every place I went into, I had to wait for one person to finish looking at the media before I could go in because all of the shops in Sittingbourne that I went into were really pokey, apart from the first 2, which was Cash Converters and Poundland, which I'll talk about in a minute, but everywhere was really busy, so it just meant I ended up having to spend ages before I looked at stuff. So let's just go through where I went. So the first town I went to was Sittingbourne. The first charity shop that you see on the footage was closed and it never opened. It wasn't due to open. I think it had stock in it, but there was a big sign on it saying it wasn't going to open on the Friday. So never got into that. And then immediately after that, I went into Cash Converters, which is quite a big Cash Converters, but there was no movies in there at all. They previously had movies, but they've got rid of them all. They did have quite a few PlayStation 1 games. Nothing that particularly took my fancy. And they had some nice Sega Mega Drive games, a couple in the box. And they had some Game Boy games that I was looking at. But they were a bit overpriced. And I find with the PS1 games, they're often quite beat up. I think people tend to take them to CEX first, and if CEX rejects them, they take them to cash converters. So yeah, didn't pick up anything there. And to be honest with you, at that point, I was like, this is just going to be a massive flop. Because the first two places I tried were just big busts. But then I went into Poundland. And as you saw from that footage, this Poundland actually had like some stock that I hadn't seen before. Probably not amazing movies, but you know, some different stock. And I ended up buying 5 titles from Poundland, which is a lot. It's been a while since I've bought loads from Poundland. The first one I picked up is this one, which is The Necessary Death of Charlie Countryman, which stars Shia LaBeouf. I don't know why I said his name like that, but Shia LaBeouf is in the centre of the image there. You can see he's the main character. He falls for someone while travelling through Europe, and there's a whole story that goes around this. But interestingly, Evan Rachel Wood is the girl, which is cool. But also, if you notice here, we've got James Buckley from The Inbetweeners and Rupert Grint. I kind of like Shia LaBeouf movies. He tends to do stuff that's a little bit different and not necessarily mainstream. Obviously, he did Transformers and has done some mainstream movies, but a lot of the other stuff he does is kind of a little bit different. And, you know, at the price of Poundland, when it's £2 for a Blu-ray, I thought, actually, I kind of want to see this, so I'm going to check this out. Standard edition. Artwork on the disc. No interior artwork or things, but it's a Blu-ray from Poundland, so what do you expect? So first one, Necessary Death of Charlie Countryman. I then picked up Saints and Soldiers 2 Airborne Creed. I have the other two. I can never remember which one it was that I haven't got, but I made a point of looking last night just on the off chance that I came across the one that I needed. I was actually expecting to get it in CEX, but it was in Poundland, so picked it up. But this is the one I need to round out the trilogy. I really enjoyed the first one. I haven't watched the other one that I've got yet because it's the last one and I was waiting to pick this one up at a reasonable price. Same again, standard release, artwork on the disc, upside down artwork, but it's there. No special features really. No special features at all. But yeah, like I said, just rounding out the trilogy of these movies. So Saints and Soldiers 2 Airborne Creed from Poundland. Next up, I do love a documentary. I've got quite a good range of sports documentaries. I also like music Blu-rays, which I have a few of. There was one in Poundland that you may have seen me pull out. This is one that I've been eyeing up in CEX for a while. I think it's about the £5 mark in CEX. And that is, it was 50 years ago today, the story of Sergeant Pepper's and Beyond. As an adult, and as someone that has realised that music is about liking what you like and not about what other people like, I've gone back to the Beatles, and they're amazing. Which I'm sure most of you are going to be like, well, duh. But yeah, I've really gotten into them. I've got 8 Days a Week, which is the Ron Howard documentary, which is really good. So obviously this has got the main documentary on it, but it's also got over 4.5 hours of exclusive bonus material. So I'll just show you on the back there. I don't know if I can get it to focus, but there you go. So there's loads of material on this as well. Again, standards, nothing, no frills really inside. It has got artwork on the disc, but I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Poundland, very happy about that. So there were several 007s on the shelf, as you saw in the video, but there were 2 that I needed, and I picked them both up. So Dr. No is one of them. This is, I think, one of my favourite Bond movies. It's classic, really. It's just a classic Sean Connery, James Bond movie. This is the one with that Ursula Andress in it, that famous scene where she comes out the water, which then Daniel Craig later did himself. So Dr. No was the first one. These got the black. This is part of the sort of set that they were released from, so it's got this black 007 logo on it, and there is a code there. I mean, if you can see it, you're welcome to it, but I'm pretty sure it's expired. So yeah, that's 007 Dr. No. And my final release that I picked up from Poundland was also a 007 one, also Sean Connery, and it's You Only Live Twice. I was certain that I had this, so I left it on the shelf initially, and then I checked the picture, and I didn't have it. So I went back and got it. I didn't go back and get it because I hadn't paid at that point, but I went back to the shelf and picked it up and grabbed it after I checked the picture. As far as I'm concerned, there's not a bad Bond movie, but, you know, I'm not particularly fussy when it comes to movies in general. Same again. There's the code. Pretty sure it's expired, but it's got the same 007 black artwork and the name of the film. There are some special features on this, as there is on the other one. Didn't show the other one, sorry, but that's You Only Live Twice, and that rounds out Poundland. in Sittingbourne, there's a string of charity shops in a row just off down one of the side streets as you walk into a main Sainsbury's. So I hit them up one in a row. I have to say, I had some issues with the first one, which I'll explain in a minute, but it's minor. I have to say, kudos. If for some reason you work in that charity shop and you're watching this, thank you, because your management of the store, all three shops managed their stores so much better than anywhere else I went in today. So they made a point of reminding you where the hand sanitizer was. They were keeping an eye on a number of people in the shop. They were stopping people from coming in when it got too busy. They were encouraging you to use the hand sanitizer on the way out. They were making sure the sections weren't getting too backed up. It did mean I had to spend a little bit longer in those charity shops than I wanted to, but I really appreciated that effort. So if you are listening, thank you. If you're not, you're not. So the first one I went into was Scope. There was some really good stuff in there. Actually, this is the first time I've been on a loot hunt where I've started to see 4Ks in charity shops, which I found really interesting. They were all the 4Ks I saw were priced appropriately. They also had a range of Blu-rays. There were some that I was interested in. I felt they were a little bit too close to CEX prices, and I didn't want them enough to pay those prices for it. Probably wouldn't have paid for them in CEX that price either. So there was a couple I passed by. I did pick one Blu-ray up, which I thought was really good value, and it's actually been one that I've been meaning to pick up for a while, so I'm quite excited about it. My biggest issue was, in their physical media section, they had a load of CDs. In the CDs, there were some absolutely mint, amazing soundtrack CDs. I didn't get any of them, even though I think those particular ones were fairly priced, because that's probably what they go for if they were on eBay. The reason I didn't get them was because I was being a bit of a grumpy old man, and my issue was that all of their CDs were priced at £2. I think that's where the pricing has gone wrong in this particular charity shop. I get putting value on things that are worth things, and actually I may have bought one or two of those soundtracks if they were priced higher than the others, because I feel like they'd done their research and that's probably what they were worth. The fact that every CD was £2 really annoyed me. I went into so many charity shops today and they cannot get rid of CDs for love nor money. There's all kinds of offers where you can pick up like 4 albums for £1, all this nonsense. This charity shop, every single CD is £2. And so I just decided not to get any out of principle, which is just me being stubborn. Let me know in the comments if you think that was a bad move or not. I'm kind of regretting it. There was one Blu-ray I picked up from the shop though, and that was Loving. Now, I saw this film in the cinema when it came out. There was a lot of Academy Awards talk around this and Golden Globe nominations as well. I think that Joel Edgerton in this is absolutely fantastic. I think his performance is so untalked about, it annoys me. The film itself is amazing. It's based on a true story. I'm not a big fan of true stories. This film I really like, and I really wanted to own this, and so I found it, and it was £1.50, and it's in really good condition. There's a download code there, but again I think that's probably been used, but if you want it, I'll hold it still for a second. Disc is in really good condition. It's got the artwork on it. I'm not necessarily saying you buy this on Blu-ray, but I definitely 100% ask you to watch this. Find it on the streaming services it's on. Check it out, if only for Joel Edgerton's performance. So next up was a charity shop that I didn't buy anything in. The charity shop itself was Demelza House. It had a deal on which was 4 for £1 for all physical media, which is a great deal. So you could mix and match. So you could look at the CDs, you could choose DVDs. There were a few bits, but nothing that really pulled my fancy. And you know, when those deals happen, I end up buying 4 things just to make it up, and I couldn't find even one thing that I was that excited about. But what I did find were these. They are VCDs, video CDs, which I know about. I've never seen in the wild before. I don't really understand where they fit into the timeline of physical media as to when they started being a thing. But I was fascinated to see them. I was kind of tempted to buy them and put them on eBay and see what they did. But then I thought, no, that's not why I'm here. And I don't actually want to be stuck with them. They're not anything I can play. Don't get me wrong. If they were Jackie Chan movies or like martial arts movies or obscure movies on VCD, I may have been even more tempted. I probably would have walked out with them. So I just left them for someone else to pick up. But I would be interested to know down in the comments if you think that was a bad move, if there's any value in them, if any of you have a VCD player or know anything about them. let me know. The next one I went into was Shaw Trust. They were doing 3 for £1, so slightly less value than the Demosa House, but again, there was nothing I really wanted. I think this was the shop that had a Jackie Chan movie in it, but I picked it up and the disc was just shredded, and I was just like, oh. But it did have this really nice book box set here, which, as you can see, is loads of James Herbert titles. Those of you that have watched previous Loot Hunt videos will notice that 3 of those titles I've already got. So it wouldn't have made any sense for me to pick it up, but it was nice, hence why there's a photo. The other thing that I saw in there, which I took a photo of because it amused me amazingly, I had no intention to pick it up, but was this. Just random selection of Princess Diana plates. I hope someone buys them. I hope they have a home somewhere, because Shaw Trust is a great charity, and if that's your thing, that's your thing. So there were a couple of charity shops further down the town. One was very spacious and had lots of stuff in it, but nothing that really took my fancy. And then there was a British Heart Foundation. This shop is so tiny, like it's unreal tiny, but the way that they've arranged it means that there's plenty of room to move, but there's also loads of stock out. The first thing I want to talk about, it was a Blu-ray. I've never seen it before, but it sounded really interesting. It's also about cycling, a character of cycling called Pantani, Marco Pantani. So he won both the Tour de France and the Giro d'Italia in 1998. He was on the top of the cycling game. He kind of redeemed it a little bit after one of the doping scandals. But then less than 6 years later, he was found dead in a cheap Italian hotel room at the age of 34. This is a documentary about his life. It sounded fascinating. It was £2. Like I said, I've not seen this before out anywhere. I wasn't aware of this as a documentary. It just sounds really interesting. There's some special features on it. Fairly bog standard release in terms of the artwork and stuff. But for £2 and the disc is in really good condition, I just thought, you know what, this probably is going to be really good. So they had several of those standees, you know, those roller standees that you can put like CDs and DVDs in. They had 3 of them, I think, out on the floor, which had a mixture of CDs and DVDs on them. I looked for all of them. I took 4 away. 3 of them were half price titles, so they were £1. They were reduced to 50p. One of them was £2. So this is from Momentum Asia, and this is Born to Fight. So this is just a martial arts flick. It's introducing Dan Chupon, I think his name is. Standard action fare with martial arts in it. I'm quite keen to check this out. There's the synopsis if you are inclined to pause and read it. There's quite a few special features, and it's even got some DVD-ROM content on it. Disc is in decent condition. This was 50p, and obviously it's got Young Backfire. So that's one for my collection. That is Born to Fight, introducing Dan Chupong. Then I picked up 3 for 50p Movie Club. The first one I picked up is a sequel to a film that I didn't even know had a first movie. So the first one I picked up was Plughead Rewired Circuitry Man 2, starring Vernon Wells and the lovely Tracy Lords. It's a Hollywood DVD, which normally is straight to DVD. I don't know about this one. Like I said, it might be something I've not heard of before. I mean, check out that disc artwork. The next one I picked up was actually sealed. It was 50p. This looks atrocious. I had to have it. I had to have it. I picked it up for 3 reasons actually. It was sealed, it's about Chupacabra, and also these shots on the back. I mean, doesn't that just screams B-movie to me? So the final one I picked up is one that was £2. My co-host Dave has for the longest time said it would be quite possible to do a podcast just on shark movies. And as you may remember from the footage, there was a shark movie that I pulled out, and that was Empire of Sharks. Hey! So this is from the creators of Sharknado. Sharknado is probably one you're familiar with. It's a shark-based B-movie. It's actually not that bad. I mean, the effects aren't amazing in places, but it's actually a pretty fun popcorn movie. It's kind of Waterworld-esque in its plot, in that the world is covered with water and sharks rule the world. So Empire of Sharks, that was the last purchase from the British Heart Foundation in Sittingbourne, and it was £1.99. Then I went to CEX. Now, CEX in Sittingbourne in the past has been very good to me. It's another one that I've been into lots. They've normally got a fairly good range of stock. The first one I got is a Jackie Chan movie. It's not an 88 movies release. It's actually something that I watched quite recently on a streaming service and thoroughly enjoyed. And that is Chinese Zodiac. So this is essentially about a team of thieves, really, that thieve historical items, but they kind of have a turn of conscience, and it's the subplot is really about returning stolen articles to the country of origin, which is a debate that is close to my heart and is something I believe strongly in. It's not very politically loaded. It's a fun action film. You don't have to get involved with that part of the storyline, but it is an interesting talking point. And Jackie Chan is funny as hell in this, and you know, I think he was 58 when he filmed this, and he's still doing all his crazy stunts. And on the digital streaming release, there's a blooper reel of all his stunts, all the errors in his stunts as he was going through it, and ouch. Man, that guy is hardcore. The physical capability of him is so good. So yeah, just basic Chinese Zodiac release there. It's got a digital code, which I will actually put up for you. Again, it's probably been used or expired, but I will put it up for you because I'm encouraging you to go watch this. So I'll hold that there. Kind of quite a cool little artwork side on it. It's the same artwork on all three things, but yeah. So that was Jackie Chan, to add to the ever-growing Jackie Chan collection. Next up was another Blu-ray. This was ridiculously cheap. It was £1.50. It's another actor that I've been sort of slowly gathering movies by. It is the latest one in the franchise of this. I'm a little bit skeptical, but I kind of want to see it. I don't know whether once I've watched it, I will keep it. That is Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning. So I think this is a 2012 release. So, but as you can see, Dolph Lundgren and JCVD are looking quite old. But yes, it is a continuation of the franchise. I'm not expecting it to be really good or even good. I'm also not expecting it to be so bad it's good. I think it's going to be something I'm going to be quite disappointed with. But at £1.50, I thought I'd give it a go. Again, inside, pretty boring, but at least the artwork on the disc is different. So we've got a Jean-Claude Van Damme copying my hairstyle. The final Blu-ray that I picked up is related to the last one. I love Bloodsport. I think that's my favourite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, actually, if I'm going to be honest. It's just a great martial arts movie. Bolo Young obviously is exceptional in it. Is a machine. Jean-Claude Van Damme is as well. It's a good movie. It's loosely based on a true story, and so I picked up for the sum of £4 the Bloodsport story. It's the true story behind Bloodsport, essentially, with the actual guy, Frank Dux, talking about what went on. And that's the back. It's got this lovely thin red case on it, which I think is quite cool. Artwork's pretty standard. I'm not expecting this to be amazing, but I probably am going to find it quite interesting because I like the film so much. But for £4, the Bloodsport story. Then I picked up 5 DVDs from the pound section. The first one, just out of intrigue, I'm obviously not going to keep this. I'm probably going to stick this on and watch it and then get rid of it. But this is Ninja Turtles Next Mutation, so it's the Ninja Turtles that are from the film. I've just realised there's a 5th turtle at the bottom, Venus de Milo. So this is the Next Mutation. I think this is a TV show. There's 5 parts to it called East Meets West. The disc is not brilliant for CEX. I kind of expect it to be a little bit better quality. I just want to see what it is. Like, it intrigued me, and it intrigues me even more now I've realised there's a 5th turtle on it. But it was £1. Next one I picked up was Extreme Dragon with the World Martial Arts Champion HEKT Echevarria. I don't know who this guy is. I'm sure I should know who he is. It looks really budget. Extreme Dragon. Next up is a Prism Leisure release, which normally is quite good value for the kind of movies that we look for 50p Movie Club. This one looks like it sat in there quite well. This is Deadly Species. I have no idea about this. It looks really bad. I like how they've done I don't know if you can see that. But they've done the chapter selections with like the screenshots as you'd see them on the screen. Yeah, Deadly Species. I haven't really got much to say about these because they're punts for 50p Movie Club. The last 2 are not though, therefore one is for my collection and one is because I've been wanting to see it for ages and I keep forgetting about it, and I saw it on the shelf and I was like, if I pick it up, I will watch it. We'll talk about that one in a minute. The one for my collection is Crying Fist. As you can see, I've been having a fight with the CEX label. M Powers left me a suggestion about how to get stickers off in my comments, so I'm going to try that with this later. But this is Crying Fist. This is another martial arts film. This is actually a 2-disc special feature. It's got audio commentary on it, a making of documentary, various different interviews and a featurette. It sounded quite interesting. It was £1, 2-disc edition. This was one of the ones where they'd taken, this was obviously in the World Cinema section originally and then it had been put into the pound section, reduced and put into the pound section because these were in a clear slip. But yeah, that's Crying Fist. That's going into my collection. Probably just until I've watched it. I don't know whether I'll enjoy it that much, but once I've seen it, I'll dip it out. The one that I was talking about that I need to see is kind of gaming related, but a game that I spent a lot of time on in my youth. Haven't played it recently because it's too complicated for me now. It's Football Manager, and this is the Football Manager story. That's all I need to say about this. This has been out for ages. I've read the book that's linked to it. I don't own it anymore, but I've read the book. It was fascinating. I kind of want to watch the documentary now and see some of the people that I've read about. So yeah, Football Manager documentary, the story behind it. Disc is in really good condition, but it is really budget. That was £1. That was the last thing I bought in CX. It is the second one, Airborne Creed, hence why it says Saints and Soldiers 2, Dan.